Greetings. This is General CJG here, coming to you with another State of Star Wars podcast. This time, we're going to be tackling a Disney Star Wars comic. Actually, multiple issues in one comic. It's called Age of Republic. Now, we're going to be tackling the hero side. Villain side, that's for the next podcast. But for now, heroes. So, here's General CJG, and joining me here are...
Captain Ensign.
And CJ Rawl.
Yep, and we'll be doing the comic. So, first and foremost, we go with the first issue, Qui-Gon Jinn. So, who wants to do the summary for this one?
I can go.
Okay, sure.
Alright, so the comic begins on a planet called Bryn. Qui-Gon and the Priestess of Wood, Mistress Thur, attempt to escape the Middle Clan after the failure of settling terms with them. And after being surrounded, the two of them escape onto a ship piloted by Obi-Wan, and they fly back to Coruscant. Thur isn't happy about this, not liking the fact that she's, moving away from her trees, but she's also going to a completely, metal planet. And so she talks about how, the Jedi aren't the mythical warriors of legends. They're cowards. And Qui-Gon tries to refute that, but then he starts to question whether or not the Jedi are straying from their original purpose. So, at the Jedi Temple, he talks with Master Yoda, and Yoda senses turmoil in him. So they talk. Qui-Gon argues that the Jedi have become warriors rather than men of peace, men of the Force. And, of course, Yoda doesn't really listen to that. But Yoda does remind him that when one asks questions, one must seek a deeper understanding of the Force. So Qui-Gon comes up with a plan to solve his doubts. So, guided by the Force, pretty much entirely by the Force, he takes a ship and goes to a planet that hasn't been charted, or that has been charted, just not designated. Goes to this planet, beautiful, and it hasn't been touched by any technology. It's completely natural. But Qui-Gon senses the dark side on the planet. It's enveloped parts of it. And he doesn't know why exactly was brought here. So, reaching a monument, Qui-Gon meditates, wondering if the light could be found in such an area. And while meditating, he has a vision. He's on a desert, black roots are growing out of the ground, and then transform into these figures. Qui-Gon fights them, but then the figures transform into fallen Jedi. Then Qui-Gon finds black roots on his own hands, which turn into red roots, then envelop him until he succumbs. Qui-Gon wakes up and realizes that it was a vision, but also the light side had managed to find its way into the Dark Monument. So Qui-Gon leaves the planet, realizing that balance can be reached through non-violent means, and that left unchecked, the Jedi could become that which they fight against. So he goes back to Coruscant, finding Thur, admiring the very, very, very few patches of green on the planet. He offers to find her allies, to fight her position against the Middle Clan, to find balance to save her way of life, but also enrich it. Thur decides to give it a try. Later that night, Qui-Gon sits with Yoda to admire the view. Yoda asks him if he found answers, and Qui-Gon says that he did, but also has more questions. That's just the nature of the Force. Yoda doesn't seem to understand Qui-Gon's realization, but Qui-Gon is satisfied with what there is. A Jedi must not bend, but also must not be too rigid. You gotta have balance, and that's that.
So, that's it?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll let Clint go first on this one. So, what did you thought on this comic?
It's a pretty good comic. It really sounds like, it really does sound very much like Qui-Gon's personality. With being kind of questionable about the Jedi and stuff, and pretty much kind of being that.
Yeah, indeed. What I myself thought, I thought it was a good read. It was interesting. I also liked seeing, I mean, some Qui-Gon stories. I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know if we got that many in the Expanded Universe, if I'm not mistaken.
Not too many, and the
Yeah,
stuff
there
we
were a
did get,
few.
he was usually always paired with somebody else. I don't think we have many stories where he's just on his own like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think it was the best part of this issue. That it was, well, mostly focused on Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan was there, but not that much. Like, mostly as a side character, not really like a protagonist or even a main character. So, which is fine, because more Qui-Gon, yeah, definitely. And I also liked the design of this mistress that, well, pretty much loves trees, hates metal. Like, yeah, I love that too, because unique alien species in Star Wars, all for it. So as long as they're obviously designed well and aren't just made for comic relief or shits and giggles like the Slug in episode 9 or the Porks in episode 8. But yeah, I like this. So there's that. I also liked how well it delved into, I guess, Qui-Gon's, how do I say it? He's not his philosophy, but definitely what he thought about the Force or how, and the Jedi, like how they're perceived by others, especially those that see them as warriors. Like, that was pretty interesting. What do you guys think of that part?
Yeah, I really liked that part. It does, keeps true to who Qui-Gon is, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So, Henson, what do you think of the comic?
Well, I really liked the comic. One, because this is one of the few prequel era stories we have in the new canon, especially pre-episode 1 stories.
Oh, yeah.
And I really like the fact that we get to see Qui-Gon on his own. It's something that, as far as I'm aware, has never really been done. I'm sure once or twice, but not too often. He's usually always paired with another character, whether it be Obi-Wan, Dooku. And plus, seeing how he gets to his mindset, the mindset he has in episode 1, is also interesting. So we have a story that's important for his character development, and seeing that more mythical and side of the Force, having a vision play as important of a role as it does here is also nice to see. The vision actually has meaning, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And also getting to see unique alien species that are actual characters for one, and also are interesting, design-wise, is always a pleasure to see.
Yes, indeed. Can we also mention how fucked up it looked when inside Qui-Gon's mind when he was in that vision? Like, that was some fucked up shit.
This is certainly one of the pros of comics and animation. Being able to see a really out there world when it comes to what's happening in the mind.
Yeah. And I think the artist did a good job with the art and everything. Like, that shit was insane.
Yeah.
Like, it was something. Boy. So, yeah. So anyway, anything else to mention on this specific issue, guys?
I got nothing.
No.
Okay, then let's go to the next one, which is Age of Republic Obi-Wan. So, who wants to tackle this one?
I'll tackle Anakin.
You tackle Anakin? Okay, then I go
Yeah.
with Obi-Wan. Okay, Obi-Wan, well, it starts with the younglings doing some training with Master, more meditation training to be precise. Whereas Obi-Wan is training Anakin in meditation, because of course it's his Padawan. So he's there, he recalls memories of him training with Qui-Gon and also Qui-Gon getting killed by Darth Maul. And then another Master Jedi, Master Tosun, arrives and pretty much tells him that the Jedi Council has another mission for him. And he has to leave Anakin again, which Anakin doesn't like, and he tells him, hey, I shouldn't be gone for too long, but you can continue training with Master Yoda. And Anakin's like, with the little kids, I'm already so far ahead of them. So he wasn't too thrilled for that. Obi-Wan then is searching for the records for the planet, finds nothing, talks with Yoda about it, and Yoda says that maybe Obi-Wan should take Anakin with him. And Obi-Wan said he hadn't planned on it, and he wasn't sure if he was ready, but Yoda said, unsure you are, ready or not ready. And so, behind the remains, behind the other Padawans. And so Yoda pretty much convinced Obi-Wan to just let him go, give him a chance. And so, that's what Obi-Wan did. He took young Anakin with him to the planet of Delenor. And before they arrived there, they were talking about how basically what was Obi-Wan's life before he went to be a Jedi. He can't really remember that much other than just being identified as Force sensitive and taken to a Jedi temple. And so there's that. Then Obi-Wan mentions that Qui-Gon chose him to be his student as he, well... So basically, he mentions that, and then that pissed off Anakin because Anakin mentions he died, and you're stuck with me. And Anakin went back to the ship, and Obi-Wan was like, Anakin, that's not what I meant. But it was a bit too late for that with that wound. So they arrive at Delenor. They basically the leader of Mistress Glatrife. She pretty much like. Finds like they were excavating the planet and they found apparently some sort of Jedi hologram that's causing all sorts of pirates wanting it. Like they wanted so money, of course, because it's just Jedi hologram. I mean that could have something, even if they can't really open it because they're not Force sensitive. But whatever, pirates, any artifacts, anything that's worth money for them, they'll do it. And so there's that. Obi-Wan tasks Anakin to keep an eye if the pirates arrive or not, while Obi-Wan goes to inspect the holocron. The Mistress, she pretty much hands the holocron to Obi-Wan, and Anakin arrives, says that the pirates are here, and the pirates arrive. And so Obi-Wan decides to pretty much defend Anakin, defend the leader, and defend the excavators. And he's gonna by himself fight all the pirates. And he's fighting them all, doing pretty good until Anakin apparently was taken hostage by one of the pirates. Except that the pirate forgot that the young boy is a Force sensitive, a Jedi Padawan, and the Padawan managed to use, well, the Force to lift some rocks behind him, throw him at his head, which pretty much stunned the pirate that was holding Anakin hostage. And, well, that set Anakin free, and it also made the other pirates surrender and leave. And then Obi-Wan and Anakin are talking regarding what happened. Anakin said he had froze up, that he let himself get caught. And Obi-Wan consolidates Anakin by telling him that you were ready long before today. I'm the one who wasn't ready. As in, Obi-Wan was not ready to train him, which, yeah, we definitely have seen that. Even in the movies, we kind of have seen that to some extent. So, yeah, that's, I guess, the end of the comic, in which they basically are talking to consolidate each other to say that, yeah, I mean, the Master's also, just as a student, also has a lot to learn. And Obi-Wan makes one final promise, that I won't fail him again. I did make a promise after all. So... he was meaning Qui-Gon, of course. So, and Yoda, even to some extent, because Yoda's mentioned there. But yeah, so that was this issue. So what do you guys think of this one?
So I really like this one, mostly because we get to see Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. And I mean, like, actually see it. Because something I didn't like in TCW was that it completely skipped over the development of those two having issues with one another to becoming brothers in arms and being, like, actual friends. Yeah. And while this does take place pre-episode 2, I'm just happy to see that more within the new canon. That idea is still remembered.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, those two, while they do like each other, they still have issues with one another, going through growing pains, especially after episode 1.
Oh yeah. Something I gotta mention. Yeah, you did bring a good point because, okay, before TCW, the Expanded Universe timeline did have his stories with both Obi-Wan and Anakin before episode 2, specifically the Jedi Quest books. But in the case of this Star Wars, there wasn't really that. By the time the timeline was first established, in the first few years. And actually, this Age of Republic comics, they came out until 2018. Like it took that long. Like didn't even came out in 2016 or 15. Hell, even 17. No, until 2018. And even then, it was December 2018.
Yeah, I would say the first issue came out in December, so mostly early 2019 these came out.
Which I think kind of sucks.
Like the only other story I can think of was the Obi-Wan and Anakin miniseries, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this Age Republic, like the first one, Qui-Gon, 2018. The other three, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme, into 2019. Which, I mean, that's something. So yeah, Clint, what do you thought about this issue?
Honestly, this sounds like a really good issue. It really reminds me of like the what's the name of it again from the Expanded Universe? I think they were the junior novels of
Jedi Quest.
Jedi Quest. That's right. In fact, I have them here in my room somewhere. Hang on. Ooh. Let me read up some titles. See here. Let's see. I have Jedi Readers Step 4, Anakin's Apprentice, which is really what this reminds me of. In fact, so it really heavily reminds me of. It does heavily remind me of Anakin's Apprentice, like the most, but it does heavily remind me of the It does definitely remind me of the Jedi Quest stories as well too. So it's a bit of both, mainly Anakin Apprentice.
Yeah, the Jedi Quest. I need to read them eventually. So.
Yeah. This one really like brings me back to that, and it's really also nice to see it brought into new canon as well, considering the old books have been decanonized for new canon.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of character development that's really essential.
Yeah.
Having Anakin and Obi-Wan go from where they are at the end of episode 1 to where they start at the beginning of episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to see these two go from a guy who doesn't really want to train this kid. Like, he's only doing it out of obligation. And that's a point that shouldn't be forgotten.
Yeah.
He didn't want to train Anakin. But, because that was the dying wish of his master, he had to. So how does Obi-Wan go from being reluctant to train him to becoming a sort of father figure and then becoming a brother?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, having Anakin go from that naive, idealistic little boy to the whiny teenager we see in episode 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's something I definitely love seeing. So yeah, and also like you mentioned before, Henson, with that this is something that we didn't really get that much in TCW. This actually kind of helps it. Like, this really kind of helps with that development as well, because because again, because with TCW, it takes place like kind of like after all that. So everything that was prior probably would almost kind of seem, I don't. Well, what's the word?
Mute, pointless.
Something like that, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, but now that we have something that's kind of there, it does help it, and I am talking about like new canon wise, because if we did go by like Expanded Universe, we probably would have seen it already. But for new canon, it's like it's not really like there, It's like that. It's like an empty space, basically, that needed to be filled, and well, we kind of got it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. Speaking of going with TCW, I think we should get to the next issue, which is Anakin Skywalker. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, Clint, go ahead.
All right. Well, while I haven't exactly read this series, but I do have a plot summary of the comic itself. Here's the plot summary for Star Wars: Age of Republic. Anakin Skywalker. The heroic Jedi Knights lead the clone armies of the Republic against the endless droid legions of the rebellious Separatists. The powerful young prodigy, Anakin Skywalker, may be the Republic's best hope to end the conflict, but as the fires of war engulf more and more of the galaxy to each passing day, Anakin faces challenges his training never prepared him for.
That's it?
That's pretty much it from the Wikipedia.
Well, unfortunately, the Anakin issue doesn't have the same detailed summary as the others.
Yeah.
Well, it's a more simpler one. So basically, Anakin and Yularen, they discussing some sort of a plan regarding assaulting a specific industrial compound. They're deciding if they should pretty much sacrifice the workers during their assault, the ones that, the ones that are working there. But Anakin decides, nah, I'm gonna go alone. I'm gonna take them all by myself. He does. He finds that the workers there are actually slaves, so he helps them pretty much free themselves, and that's what happens. They win the battle, and yeah, that's what happened.
All right. Thanks for that better summary there, General, for filling in that blank. But yeah, from what I could say from that more detailed summary, I actually kind of like that, especially with the freeing of the slaves part, because that's really kind of something that really kind of hits with Anakin's character, about wanting to become a Jedi to free the slaves and stuff like that, which he kind of does in the Zygerrian arc in TCW. But in this one, it's nice to see that he actually did something like that again, in this comic. So it's not like his only time he ever did it. Depends on, or at least that depends on where this takes place. That is.
Okay, timeline-wise, as far as I know, Anakin Skywalker takes place. It should take place 22 BBY. That's where it takes place. Basically, the very beginning of TCW, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. All right then.
Yeah. So, speaking of TCW, if you noticed in the comic, both Anakin and Obi-Wan are using their TCW outfits, and also Yularen from TCW is also here. So that's why when you were mentioning TCW, I pretty much said, speaking of TCW, well, that's why. It's because this comic is kind of tying into TCW.
All right, then.
So, yeah, which was very interesting. Seeing.
Yeah.
So, Henson, what do you thought of this comic, this issue?
Well, very much like what we got with that arc in TCW. I do like seeing when Anakin has to deal with slavery, given that it hits so close to home with him, and really seeing him just lash out. Now, here they were just droids he lashed out as, so doesn't have the same impact, but still, we get to see a different side of Anakin and Yularen's relationship here, where the two of them are on polar opposites on what they have to do in this situation, which is something that, if I recall, never really happened in TCW. Getting to see Obi-Wan and Anakin be tight, if you will, is nice to see. Yeah, not much for me to really say here.
I myself,
all right.
Yeah, because this story doesn't really have much to offer in regards to. It's more of just a fun ride to see Anakin. Though it is interesting seeing Anakin pretty much fighting with the dilemma of having to, sacrifice innocent lives in one attack just to get the droid base destroyed. So it was interesting. But you know what? Anakin's own idea of pretty much going by himself to to pretty much take over the entire base and destroy all the droids. It worked, and he got reinforcements by helping the slaves. So yeah, that was awesome. Also, it was cool seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan pretty much talking to each other when Anakin now is a Jedi Knight and Obi-Wan is a Jedi Master. So that's the kind of talk that we got in episode 3. We see it in TCW plenty, but outside of that, we don't see it too much. But in the comics, it's cool that we have it.
Yeah, it is cool.
Indeed. So yeah, anything else to mention on this issue?
That's pretty much it, I guess.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have that much. But let's go to the next one. The next one is a more interesting one because it's Age of Republic, Padme Amidala. And I'm pretty sure both of you know that Padme rarely has any stories of her own in the expanded universe, so this will be a pretty share.
Yeah, certainly one of the cons of the expanded universe, even post-2005. Funny enough, that's definitely one of the things the new canon has actually done
Oh yeah.
So much better at. Even TCW did a much better job at showing her actually doing stuff. Like she's an active member of the cast outside of the movies. Don't know why that was a thing or why it took so long for her to, one, not only get her own books, but also get her own one-shot. We did have like a few Star Wars Tales stories with her in the lead, but I think that's about it.
Well,
she never really got anything.
Well, we'll get into detail on that. First, we need to see if this story actually, like did Padme justice, because her getting her own stories is cool, but if they're not done well, won't matter much. So let's get into it. So who wants to do the summary for Padme Amidala?
There are a lot of names that I just can't remember.
You want me to do it?
Yes.
Okay. Well then. So starts with Anakin and Padme pretty much talking to each other. Obviously missing each other because the fucking wars keeps them separated, and their jobs as well. So Padme says that she can't have a Jedi protect her all the time. But Anakin just says, oh, me protecting you? Oh, that's more of a hobby. So there's that. Then one of the handmaiden, like Anakin and Padme are kissing. And then one of the handmaidens pretty much sees them kissing, and she says, Senator Amidala, the ship is ready to depart. Anakin's like, we were just... Moti understands discretion, Anakin. So, yeah. Fun fact, the handmaidens actually did knew about Anakin's and Padme's secret marriage in both timelines. This is Star Wars and the EU, actually. Some of them, not all of them. So yeah, they shouldn't be much surprised that she knew. So, yeah. but yeah, Padme decides to go on basically in a planet to negotiate some peaceful agreement to, peaceful agreements, pretty much get the neutral world to at least have some sort of good relationship with the Republic in some way. So it's worth a shot. So Padme takes her two handmaidens. One of them is Moti, the other one, Dorme, the one from episode 2. So... okay, so they pretty much go. So they arrive at the planet of Glabron, the one that Padme has to do the peaceful agreement. Unfortunately, nobody's there to greet them, like the landing pad, like nobody. And she goes to the door, and apparently somebody tells her that's on the other side of the door to leave. No Republic, you must leave immediately. And then a sniper decides to target Padme and her handmaidens. One of the handmaidens got injured in the arm, whereas the Padme and the other handmaiden, Dorme, they pretty much had to take Moti out of the firing range. So they did. They got to the door. The guy behind the door was reluctant to open it, but he in the end decided to open it. So they get to the place where the Grand Minister was, who contacted Padme and she was supposed to talk to, but fortunately, well, he was injured. That sniper must have taken him down because, of course. So he dies and pretty much demands to stay out of the conflict. And well, that was his dying wish. Like he wanted the Republic to, like, while he wants his plan to stay neutral, he does want to see the Republic win, given that the Separatists, well, hired a bounty hunter and killed him, so makes sense. And so, and the other guy that let Padme and her handmaidens get in, well, he pretty much like says that you should not have come here, go away. But she's like, oh, I'm staying, I'm gonna help you deal with this bounty hunter. And she's recounting the fact that she has pretty much, been in the same type of situation as the Grand Prime Minister, where she was leading a planet only for it to have some sort of a big conflict happening. And, well, you know how that went with episode 1. So then the bounty hunter is still scouting, and bounty hunter sees Padme and the handmaidens in her robes leaving the ship, but, well, surprise, Padme actually managed to kill the bounty hunter by shooting him in the back. The one that was in the hood with the handmaidens below was actually Grand Minister. So, yikes, you got deceived. So, yep, they got rid of the bounty hunter. They pretty much agreed to make a peaceful agreement. The second Grand Minister, he pretty much said he can't make any promise. He'll make the same choice as Steen regarding the conflict, the Clone Wars, that they will not fight, but there is other types of aid that they could offer. And, well, Padme pretty much said, a chance is all we can ask for. And they shook hands, and that's how this comic ended. So, yep, that's Age of Republic Padme Amidala. So, thoughts on this one?
Not bad.
It did a really good job at portraying Padme. I mean, not really hard to do. So, it is nice that within the new canon, she's actually getting some spotlight.
Yeah.
And again, definitely one of the pros of TCW, and it's pro here too. You know, just seeing her be as proactive as she is just nice. Because for whatever reason, she's just a character who was really underutilized in the EU. No idea why, but that's just the case.
Either underutilized or she was there, but as a supporting character.
Basically.
I would just say overall, she just was underutilized. Even when she did have like spotlights, overall, she was underutilized. It's unfortunate, but at least the new canon can pick up the slack. And I also like that she isn't afraid. I mean, she didn't kill him, but she isn't afraid to shoot a man in the back.
When necessary, of course.
Yeah, yes. When you know you can't settle things peacefully, you gotta do some aggressive negotiations.
Ah, yes.
I thought
The coin a phrase.
Which I forgot to mention. She did mention that here.
Yeah, she does say that.
She took that from Mannequin, all right.
Yep.
Which is definitely awesome to see. Now, I did take a look in regards to the stories or appearances that Padme did in both the EU and Disney Star Wars, and yeah, Disney Star Wars, she has several more appearances, as in her own stories. Like she's in Queen's Peril, Queen's Shadow, obviously this comic. Like there's apparently a few other there's some young adults dealing specifically with her, like Queen's Hope. Like yeah, she has a lot more stuff dealing with herself compared to the EU. The EU it has a few, like for example, episode 1, Queen Amidala, a one-shot comic which retells basically a retelling of episode 1 from the perspective of Padme Amidala, which I mean, cool, but but that's episode 1, which we already saw, so there's not much there. If you get what I mean with that.
Yeah.
So there's some children's books that do tackle Padme's backstory, her past, like Queen in Disguise, Queen's Diary, and Queen's Amulet. But again, they're for children's. They're not even like young adult novels akin to Jedi Quest. Like they're or in Disney Star Wars Queen's Hope. No, they're like little girls, little kids levels of, yeah, that simple. So a bit sad.
Yeah, unfortunate reality is unfortunate.
There is a novel from for Padme, episode 1 journal, Queen Amidala.
Yeah.
So she has a comic and the novel, which cool.
But both are just adaptations of a movie.
Yeah, I say the only one that's interesting is the one episode 1 Darth Maul, because that actually has more, even Darth Maul's homeworld, whereas the one of Padme probably we'll see when we get to those, But yeah, so yeah, with Padme in the EU, she's mostly supporting character, maybe part of a main cast, tied with somebody else, akin to Qui-Gon with Obi-Wan. But in Disney Star Wars, yeah, she has a lot more of her own stories. So yeah, it's awesome. Disney Star Wars, at least that is one positive that I can definitely give to Disney Star Wars, that they actually did that right.
Yeah.
So, and definitely would like them to do more of this. Like not only tackle some more Padme stories, which I think they're doing with. I think there was another book that was coming out from the same author that did Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, which is already came out, but in paperback comes out until October 5, 2021. Okay, so there's that. So yeah, do more Padme on her own adventures that don't rely on Anakin Skywalker or Obi-Wan or some other main character.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah. So anything else to mention on this Padme issue?
I think we've summed it up, I think.
Okay, then I guess we should get to our overall thoughts on these 4 issues that we've read in Age of Republic. So who goes first?
So overall, I really like these issues. Getting to see more of the prequel era within the new canon is always a positive because it's just something, even like after half a decade since the creation of the new canon, we still don't have that much. I mean, yeah, we got TCW, but that wasn't made as part of the new canon. That was just a carryover.
Yeah.
And plus, getting to see characters spotlighted is also something I really like. Just being able to explore my favorite movie era is just something I like, especially when, again, we don't see it explored that much in the new canon. Hopefully that changes, but for now, at least the few things we do have are actually, good. TCW quality can be argued, but at least in terms of the books and comics, they're good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, which was your favorite prequel Star Wars movie era, Henson?
Prequel.
The prequel trilogy era, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so Clint?
My thoughts on this? I definitely am a little interested on giving these a read sometime, And like Henson said, it is nice to finally kind of get some prequel era content, since the new canon is indeed lacking on this era, and it's really something that I love. Just seeing as this era being more acknowledged and is being more acknowledged as outside from TCW, and that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, nice. My thoughts on these issues: they were great. They were fun to read. The art definitely was great, which is awesome because all 4 of them had great art. Because there are some Disney Star Wars comics that don't really have the best artwork. I can think of Star Wars Origins from, I think it was 2018 or 2019, the one that ties to Episode 9, which didn't have the great art. But this one's great art, awesome. And I like that they also... Well, again, exploring the prequels in Disney Star Wars, which especially pre-TCW. Well, yeah, pre-TCW. Because that definitely was again something that was lacking in Disney Star Wars. We did have it in the EU, plenty of stories tackling pre-Episode 1 and in between Episode 1 and 2. Besides the Jedi Apprentice books, there's also Jedi Quest, as well as the Star Wars Republic issues that they go from between Episode 1 to Episode 2, and they go all the way to the Clone Wars. So yeah, we had that in those, but in regards to Disney Star Wars, we didn't have that, and man, we had to wait 4 years since the creation, or 5, I should say, it's 2013, to get to this Disney Star Wars to finally do something prequel era related that wasn't TCW. Man, it took a while.
I mean, we did have the Anakin and Obi-Wan miniseries. That was about it.
Oh, yeah, the Obi-Wan and Anakin. Oh, yeah, we did have those 2016, but what else did we have besides that, Hanson?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and I guess the Darth Maul canon comics book series, that too, in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but that seems to be about it, as far as I know.
Oh, we also had the Mace Windu miniseries.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Wait, was that a miniseries, or am I just thinking of... No, wait, yeah, I think that was a miniseries.
Jedi of the Republic, Mace Windu. That's the one you must be referring to. So we did have some comics before, but we didn't get into a lot more prequel trilogy content until I guess it was after The Last Jedi. Because did you notice the output for the prequel trilogy era was not really that much?
Yeah.
It took like until The Last Jedi when that movie came out, when they finally wanted to do more Clone Wars content. But besides bringing back TCW Season 7, besides that, they also, made a lot more comics. Besides the Age of the Republic, they also did, as far as I know, they also did Star Wars Adventures, the Clone Wars, Battle Tales, and the several books, Master and Apprentice, Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, etc., etc. Like definitely, we were getting a lot more prequel content after The Last Jedi came out. Which, yeah, more prequel content in Disney Star Wars, please. That's not just TCW related. So.
Yeah. Also, not to mention, like, pre Last Jedi being EA's Battlefront 2, but that's not really saying much.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that indeed. So any final things to mention on Age of Republic?
I'd say that's it for me.
Okay, well, then that was our conclusion to this podcast, and so we'll see you guys on the next State of Star Wars. The next one would be, it will probably be the next Age of Republic. This time we're tackling villains. Oh yes, the bad guys of the prequel trilogy. So be ready for those in the next week. So we'll see you guys on the next State of Star Wars. Bye bye.
Later.
Bye.